southern border, you've got DHS and ICE who are reporting that there was a little bit of fudging of numbers during the Biden administration on both the catch and the release side with respect to reporting the number of illegals coming into
They cheated on the numbers. The numbers were. I love that question. Who are you with?
Just the news, Amanda Henry.
Very nice. That's good. That's
Do
good.
you know how many of those are criminal illegal aliens?
Many of
Biden's
them.
out of office.
Yeah.
Alejandro Mayorkas.
No, Biden fudged the numbers. The numbers were totally fake. And he gave fake numbers. I knew they were fake. Everybody knew they were fake. But now it came out. And terrible what they did. That administration was a horror show for this country.
Vladimir Putin says he supports the US-led ceasefire deal for Ukraine. The Russian president insists, though, he must talk to US President Donald Trump before agreeing to any deal. He says he still has reservations about a ceasefire, including how it would be enforced on the 1,000-kilometre front line of the conflict.
We agree with the proposals for the ceasefire, but our position is based on the assumption that the ceasefire would lead to a long-term peace, something that would remove the initial reasons for the crisis. How are we going to resolve the issues of control or verification? How can we be guaranteed that none of this is going to happen in the future?
During an Oval Office meeting with the NATO general this morning, which only just wrapped up actually, US President Donald Trump says Vladimir Putin's comments were promising but not complete.
We have to get this war over with, and you'll be back to a normal, much more normal life. And maybe we're close. We're getting words that things are going okay in Russia, and it doesn't mean anything until we hear what the final outcome is. But they have very serious discussions going on right now with President Putin and others, and hopefully they all want to end this nightmare.
And the President just wrapped up that meeting with the NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte, which covered a range of issues from Ukraine to European trade and the annexation of Greenland. Mark Stone was there.
Was a Trump-dominated news conference. I think like probably 90% of that was Donald Trump talking, and actually a lot of it had nothing to do with NATO. It had nothing to do with the guy that was sitting on his right. It was free-flowing as we have become used to. But on Ukraine, I mean that news conference, what you've just watched, happened about an hour ago now. They're now having lunch inside the building here, but it happened just after the news conference in Moscow with Putin. So things have kind of been moving in tandem, and I think probably over lunch they will have caught up in detail with what Vladimir Putin said in Moscow, and potentially what Steve Witkoff, Donald Trump's negotiator-in-chief, will have been outlining and may still be outlining at his meeting in Moscow with Putin as well. There was discussion about a phone call. Donald Trump said that he would take a phone call from Vladimir Putin. We know Putin said that he'd like to iron out some of the details behind this 30-day ceasefire, potentially in a phone call with Putin. You know, things are so unpredictable in this Trump White House that you could imagine a scenario where Putin decides with Witkoff to call Donald Trump now. I mean, you know, you could even imagine a scenario where they might have that call and the NATO Secretary General is there as well. I mean, these are the sorts of things that world leaders and leaders of alliances like NATO need to prepare themselves for when they go into these meetings. But from Mark Rutte's perspective, I guess it's worth remembering that he's not the leader of a nation at the moment. So he is subservient to Donald Trump in that respect. So you wouldn't expect him to have anything other than praise for Donald Trump. And every time he spoke, it seemed to be to hat tip to Trump and say, you know, what you have done for NATO, what you have done in breaking the deadlock on Ukraine is all to be respected.